Good morning. Welcome, Rise Urban Nation. I got a special guest in the building today. I'm gonna call him Lord Jamal. Lord Jamar. That's your stage
Thank
name now, your new stage name. Nah, I got the one, the only Jamar Jones in the building. We both realize that we love coffee early in the morning. Cheers, top of the morning to you, sir.
Hey,
And
cheers, cheers.
cheers. How are you doing this morning, good sir?
I'm doing I'm doing great because I woke up this morning. So that's the first thing I always do is just thank God that I woke up.
Glad. My granddaddy used to say the same thing. He like any day above ground is a good day. So let's make the best of
Hey,
today.
it could be worse.
It could be worse. So, I got the chance to get acquainted with you, and we'll talk about that as we go through your journey and story. But for the people who may not know who Jamar Jones is, tell the people who is Jamar Jones. And I know that's a deep question. You can go as far as wide as you want to
That's
go with that. Who is Jamar Jones?
Yeah, and this is something I'm working on continuously,
Yeah.
because I feel like everybody is a work in progress. But so yeah, I'm Jamar Jones. I'm an owner of a branding and media company, Foureva Media, and we connect others to diverse communities with branded entertainment. Got a team of about 10 people right now, and I love what we do every single day. It's, our mission is to help others and really bridge that gap, and close that gap, between, from economic empowerment for people, providing people with opportunities, but also really unlocking people's superpower, and their gift,
I love that.
every single day. Also, I'm a speaker and then an author of a book called Change Your Circle, Change Your Life,
Mm,
which is how to evaluate your current circle and then how to get into new ones. So that book has now been taking me all over the place, doing what I love, spreading a good message. Also, I'm the creator of Lead the Movement Business Conference, which we just had a few months ago, where I'm the first African American small business owner to rent out an arena.
nice.
Um, to do a huge business and community conference, where we infused entertainment inside of it, had four powerful sessions and then a concert at night. Um, and it was amazing. We had a great attendance there, a lot of activities
Yeah,
and things for people to do, and yeah, we're looking to continue doing that and make it an annual thing. um, we'll probably do the next one again in Milwaukee, and then after that, who knows?
yeah. Who
who,
knows? Who
who knows?
knows? The sky's the limit. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he did say Milwaukee. Me and him had some conversations offline. He said I need to come out to Milwaukee. He gonna show me a good time, and so I
Hey,
believe him. So I was like, "You sure Milwaukee?" He's like, "Nah, we got an affluent black community in Milwaukee. Don't sleep on Milwaukee."
don't sleep, don't sleep. There's you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
so come through.
Change your circle, change your life, right?
Yeah, time to change your circle, man. Let's get it.
And that's what I love about your story, and like you've consistently grown through the power of changing your circle and learning from your circumstances. And I want to dive into that book real quick and learn a little bit about how that book
Mhm.
came together. But before we dive in, for you, what makes growing exciting?
Yeah, I'm always trying to push the bar, for my own growth. I love growth of knowledge, and then I love trying to apply that knowledge.
Mhm.
So I'm always looking to learn more. My YouTube, a lot of people got YouTube's full of silly stuff, when they go on their feed, which I'm not knocking that because everybody has to have a disconnect, but mine is like just full of just business resources, how to market, how to grow professionally, how to grow personally. It's a lot of professional and personal development, on my YouTube. And then I look forward to growing with others, just connecting myself with others we can collaborate, we can challenge one another, we can push one another. That's why it's really important to have a mentor in your life to help guide you, and help see where you need to go on that compass of life. So
Nah.
uh growing is super super important and necessary, if you want to get to any next stage in your life.
Yeah, and that's something that you've definitely done. Now, tell me, how did this book come to play? What was the catapult to writing the book, and then finally getting it out there, and how did it really change your circle and change your life?
Yeah, the book is funny because, like, I never, like, when I was younger, it's not like I said, "Hey, I want to write a book." You know, Back then, I only cared about music and really pushing, because I was a hip hop artist, performed all over the place, and I really only cared about music. Um, but then what happened is about, like, now I think is it 5 years? 6 years ago, 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Um, I had said and had in my brain this change your circle, change your life.
Hmm.
And I would say it in some videos. I got old videos of me saying it, like I'm doing like a live stream on Facebook Live, and I'm like, yo, change your circle, change your life, man. I didn't even realize there was a book then, but I just was saying, because I kept seeing this pattern, for myself, and then how it was I was adapting to these new circles. And so probably I want to say maybe 3 years ago, I was like, okay, I have this idea to write a book, but how do I get it out there? Um, and so in 2000, see, now time is flying by now. 2021, I wrote um I wrote the book in 6 months and also pushed it out. I'm kind of a maniac like that.
That's
To
an
push out a
intense
book.
that's an intense amount of pressure and writing schedule. So hats off to you. Like,
That was with everything else I was doing too. But I really, because something told me, like, why wait until, because I was like, maybe I don't have all the accolades quite yet, to write a book. But I was like, man, why wait when, like, I want to get this message out now, and I want people to literally watch me change my circle, from right, when I put that book out. And my circle has changed time and time again. And then with the conference that we did a few months ago, in August 25th, you know, literally people watched me change my circle before that conference in the 6 months. Like, literally, if it was a TV show, I documented the whole thing. So I got it all filmed, all documented. That's something else I'm working on. But the whole process, they watched me change my circle. So literally, like, it's not something that I'm just writing and say, oh, follow this and do this, and but I'm good,
mhm,
I'm not gonna continue to do it. Literally, people saw me do it, and so it really inspired now a lot of people, to know what that method looks like. So it's just so important. Everybody needs to change their circle. They just need to be intentional about it
yeah.
and need to know how to do it.
Yeah, I resonate with that because I'm a young kid from DC, from the concrete jungles of DC, Washington DC area, and then when
Mm,
I made my migration over to Cali, and then just didn't have the same influences, it automatically just dropping down and changing the environment automatically changes your thought process, and then you
yeah,
start interacting with people who are not from where you from, and then that starts changing how you see the world and the lens how you communicate with these folks. So
yes,
I definitely resonate with all of that. um I feel like your book also helps with, growth and and personal or maybe professional development for some people,
yeah,
and I think changing your circle and changing life can help you like see strengths. Like, if someone doesn't, let me ask you this: if someone doesn't know their personal strengths, what next steps can they take? And I feel like you probably may have
yeah.
answered this in their book, but I don't want to give all the secrets away. But give me a little, give me a little.
Oh man, I mean, so the personal strengths is one thing, but it's also about your personal weaknesses as well.
Mm,
So you have to. So the first step in the book that I talk about is you have to unlock your self awareness.
mm,
You cannot change your circle or even understand your circle
mhm,
unless you understand yourself
mm,
first. So that's why it's so important to unlock your self awareness. And I boil down unlocking your self awareness into three ingredients. So you really have to understand your fear first. You have to understand your perspective. You have
mhm,
to unlock your perspective, and then you also have to grow your confidence.
mhm,
And then I kind of have like a caveat of a fourth ingredient, which is self love.
mm.
So
Now, why is
you
that
want
that
to
4th ingredient so important?
Yeah, the self-love is, look, if you don't care about yourself
Yeah,
and you don't put yourself first, and you don't understand how to navigate through society, and you're going to constantly point the finger in the blame game. You're going to take what other people are saying about you to heart, and you don't self-love yourself to say like, okay, that's what you think.
yeah,
I'm gonna keep doing me
yeah,
and not really care about the outside opinion. Like self-love is just so important. So all those ingredients though, because each one of those ingredients stop us in some way or form when we're trying to understand our circle and when we're trying to change it, and try to get into new ones, because fear will just stop you dead in your tracks, or people retreat, or they get paralyzed. Perspective is because people are looking through a paper towel roll, and they don't know how to look at things from a broader view. How do you look at it from a bird's eye view, and stop just thinking about yourself?
mm,
When you think about the perspective. And then confidence, like a lot of times people like, oh, well, I'm not qualified enough. I don't have, I didn't grow up with this. I don't know this, all these excuses of why you shouldn't go and do it
yeah,
and why you shouldn't go into that next level. So, self awareness is first. You understand that, then you start to apply it to your current circle. And now, then you're able to, go and walk the walk and talk the talk with actually changing your circle.
yeah, I love that, I love that. So, the breakdown: fear, perspective, grow confidence, self-love. That sounds like a
Yeah.
recipe and formula for success, and I love the way that you easily broke it down and gave us easy steps to work on, and, um now, do you follow it in that order, in that pattern, or does like is it like a linear thing, or is it can you be working on 2 pieces at one time, or how does that
Oh
work?
yeah, you could be working at, multiple. You don't have to follow it in a certain pattern.
Yeah,
Um, because, here's the truth. Everybody is wired differently.
yeah,
Somebody might have that fear of like, man, nothing scares me. I'm going, I'm diving right in,
yeah,
you know, to figure it out. Or they might have a huge confidence issue,
yeah. Now
or they
now,
might
is
have
that
a
a problematic
perspective.
too, like, having too much confidence and just diving in, like, is that a
Oh
problematic?
yeah, it's just like anything. You drink too much water, you might die.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
You
Facts.
know, so it's just like anything. You don't want too much of one ingredient. Even self love, you might be so your ego level gonna be gonna
Mhm.
be out the roof, and also now you're not even approachable. So
Yeah,
there is a certain filter to each, but I would say that most people are not confident. So, when a lot of these things that I'm saying, like most people don't have self love.
yeah,
Most people are afraid. Most people are only looking at things from, you know,
yeah.
a thin tunnel. So when I'm saying, hey, let's increase that, it's usually from a very, a starter level point.
Yeah. Now, what makes growing so challenging? Because I feel like it seems so simple when you write it on paper, but a lot of people have a hard time doing it. So, what makes growing so challenging?
Yeah, I think it's a number of things. It's comes down to your environment,
Yeah,
you know, to where you're at, where you're growing up, where you're living every single day. The people that are around you, they may limit or drag you down like crabs in a barrel. There's that thing where crabs, they try to get out the barrel,
Mhm.
and one always it's
Yeah.
like, where you going, man? Come back down here with us. And then also it's really your upbringing as well. I feel like that challenges people to grow, because we are humans are a lot like computers in the way that we download information. And if, depending on our upbringing, we may have downloaded wrong information
Mhm.
or outdated information.
True, true, big facts.
and, and and so when you talk about challenges in growing, if you got wrong data,
Right.
and especially, and then your environment is also challenging,
Mhm.
it's a really hard to grow,
Right.
and yourself and others, and just try to get into that next level. So I think there's a lot of pieces to that equation.
Right.
um and that's why the goal is that first you unlock yourself,
Right.
because then you can start to manipulate and change and grow out of those situations.
Yeah. When you said that, you made me think of like even the people that we love, that we surround ourselves with, could give us wrong data, right? or,
Yeah.
or, or outdated data. And it doesn't mean they don't love us. It means that this is the best they knew how to do with the information they was given. And so they're passing that on to us, whether it be a mother,
Yeah.
father, uncle, cousin, whoever, right?
Yeah.
And we operate in that circumference sometimes, and then they have the fear of us doing the other thing that we're trying to do, because they have never succeeded in doing it or never seen it successfully done.
Right.
So they're trying to quote unquote protect us, and so they project their fears onto us. I remember Jay-Z said it best in the quote. He's like, my uncle once told me that, who do you think you are? Like, you'll never sell a million records. I sold a million
Yeah.
records like 1,000 times.
Yeah, like 1,000 times. Exactly.
And it wasn't that his
Exactly.
uncle didn't want the best for him. It's like he couldn't see it. He was trying to protect his little nephew from, being brokenhearted because he,
Yeah.
you know,
And once again, it's about perspective,
look,
because that person hasn't widened that perspective view, and they're only looking at their, things through their lens, through their perspective
right,
of what it is. But Jay-Z was like, "Oh, I'm thinking bigger,"
right,
you know. So it's just challenging that.
right. So, why is this whole concept of widening your circle and self growth, so important to you?
It's important to me because I feel like it's one of the keys to really helping, society.
Mm,
Um, a lot of people have all these other things, or, uh, kind of topic points that they feel like is the answer. But I really think it starts with with the human being first,
mhm,
and then, but when you do change your circle, and it really does change your life. Like,
mm.
that's why, like, I put a guarantee in there. You get this book, you are going, if you actually follow and I literally break it down. Every single chapter has, like, action items.
Right,
Every single time. Like, do this, like, right now, not like a couple years from now. Do
right,
this right now for the next couple weeks, for the next month. Do this. And if you apply each one of those action items, you will change your life. There's no it's impossible. It's impossible for you not to change your life, because when you change your circle, new opportunities come to you. New ideas come to you, and you start being around people that are just cut from a slightly different cloth. All of a sudden, you start to think about your own life and saying, "Man, I could do," or "Oh man, I was doing this wrong. Let me course correct. Let me do this." So the reason why it's so important is because even from students to young adults to adults that have been in a profession for a while, or maybe in a personal situation for a while, and they haven't been able to crack the code yet, it's just so important for them to get this book and to understand this concept, because it really can help anybody. Of course, there's always extremes in circumstances. If somebody is has in a country with a dictatorship, well, you know, it's gonna be a lot harder, you know, to do this stuff. But there's extremes to everything. There's anomalies for everything. But most people, if they follow these practices, that's why it's just so important. Because I really want to see everybody win, man. I mean, especially African American, like African Americans have just been really pushed down for so long. I just watched a movie where it was called Boss, and the movie itself was all about the rise and fall of economic development within African Americans, which I did not know. All these stories, and it's just amazing on the perseverance of African Americans as they continue to just rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. But like it's just so important for me to see others win. We gotta change this cycle, and I think how you do that is through people and through opportunities.
Yeah. And another thing that I think of is like just platforms like ours, like, I know they call us the new media, so to speak, but we, truly
Mhm.
what we do here is we amplify, black voices because I think you have when I used to go speak out in the schools, like these students had a hard time seeing anything other than what they saw in media, and they can't be what they can't see. And so when they see brothers like me and you in media, and you had these big conferences and you selling out, they're like, "Oh, I want to be like Jamar." Like, now I see there's another path for me. I don't have to be just a rapper or a basketball player. And Jamar told me I could change my circle. So why can't I be over here hanging out with the
Yeah,
yacht boys, making plans on how to, travel the world and go speaking, right? Like, why can't I?
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
all
yeah.
that comes into play too. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's I had this one like 19-year-old kid come up to me uh at our conference, and he was like in tears. He came up to me behind the stage. I don't even know if he was supposed to be back there. But
He found his
he
way.
came up to me.
He's like, I'm gonna change
He
my
found his
circle
way.
today.
Like,
I'm gonna
yeah,
make sure I get to Jamar.
I was like, all right, cool, man. You made it back here. I know how that is. With doing all the music stuff. We had to sneak our way backstage a lot of times. So um, the kid came up, and then just started just tearing up. And he's like, dude, he's like, I ain't never seen no one that looked like me doing stuff like this. And he was just like blown away, you know. And that moment I knew we were doing something right,
Yeah,
because when you talk about that relevancy, with someone that looks like, because that's how people really connect with that. Of course, yeah, you can see somebody else, and that's totally different, totally from a different space, and you can get inspired by that. Of course, you can. But when it gets closer and closer to yourself,
yeah,
that's where you start to make that connection, and you start to say, "Man, dude, like he actually has a lot of same experience as me, and now look at what he's doing. Now look at where he's at." So that in itself is just so important, and that needs to be recognized more, more so, especially in media, um, of people that because there's a lot of people doing amazing things, but unfortunately, they're getting overshadowed by either like the cream of the crop, from a Jay Z, LeBron to you know, um, Damon John, just all these people that are like, yeah, they're doing amazing things, but that's also like the upper echelon of, they also like anomaly we talked about.
yeah,
Like those anomalies. But most people
yeah,
are down in this other space that need to be recognized because most people can get to here,
yeah,
not Michael Jordan.
yeah,
Those are anomalies, and I just know, like, hey, do I aspire to keep growing and get to a certain level? Of course, but also I recognize and I have self awareness enough to know that not everybody can get to Michael Jordan. That's just it's just not in the deck of cards.
yeah. Right.
So you have to be able we got to highlight the people that are in the other spaces to show what the steps are and to show what's possible so that way people can climb their way up there and go wherever they want to go.
Yeah. Now, do you find because in my journey to self transformation, changing my circle and self improvement, you have the family members that see it and they see you evolving, they see you changing. Some grow with you, and some just have trouble. It's like it's still you changing is not enough for them to see that it's almost like they reject it, like like,
Yeah.
you think you smart, huh? Oh, you
Hmm.
think you good, you think you not one of us, huh? You came from this, like,
Yeah.
this could be you too, like, nephew or
Yeah.
cousin, like, this could be you too. I
Yeah.
ain't trying to say
Yeah.
I'm better than you, I'm just like you, so, you could follow this blueprint too. But
Yeah.
for some reason or
Yeah.
another, they just have a hard time. Do you find that some people have a hard time and they just reject it for whatever reasons?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're look, I have like 4 chapters dedicated to these people in the book. One is that one chapter is called "Don't Surround Yourself with Bums."
Like,
Um, you know, this is it's real because some people just have a bum like mentality.
like,
You know, they're lazy, they're negative, they don't want to see any good in the world. They're just like, man, complaining, blaming others
uh,
constantly. And it's like, why are you trying to pull those people up?
like,
Why? It's a waste of time because you might do take a couple stabs at it, but once it becomes like a chore, it's like, man, you got to disconnect yourself, or you got to leave. You got to limit those interactions. Another chapter is called vampires and shepherds.
okay.
So, some of these people you're talking about are vampires in your life.
Uh,
They're constantly draining your energy. They're constantly, latching onto you, and like it's like you can't let go. They come out of the darkness when you least expect it. Like you're winning, you're doing things, and all of a sudden, boom, they latch back onto you, and then they try to pull you down
uh.
where they're at. Those are those vampires in your life, and it's like you gotta limit them. You got to get the garlic. You got to get your wooden stake,
You
and
wouldn't
it's
take
time to go to
your
war.
turmeric, whatever it works.
It's time to go to war, you know? And because you can't let them, dictate and control your life, and you're constantly trying to, have these vampires roll with you, and it's just it needs to change it. So that's why, the shepherds is really the guides. Those are like the people that are gonna lead you to where you need to go. Those are the positive lights in your life. And so that's say, hey, get more shepherds in your life, less vampires. And most of us, we got a couple vampires. They might even be ones closest to us in our family. But we have to, and I know family you can't just cut off, but you need to limit the interactions and set up barriers and set up like, hey, have the confidence to say like, enough is enough. I'm not taking this. So yeah, people will have those limiting beliefs because they try to reflect that on you. You just got to know how to limit those interactions and still have love for them, but just you are now on a different path. You are doing something different. Your journey looks different.
Yeah, I remember hearing somebody say before, like, if you look around your circle and you don't get inspired, you have a cage, not a circle.
Oh, good.
Like, you should look around
That's
your
good.
circle and you be like, "Man, he's doing good, he's doing good. He got this going off. Okay, I need to figure out how he doing that so I can get to that. Man, I'm just inspired. I need to get back in it." But if you look around and you're not inspired and you the only one, you got a cage, not a
Yeah.
circle.
Mm. It's so true. I mean, it's 100% true, and that's why I say you got to evaluate the current circle. Because once you evaluate it and you find out you're in a cage, you got to get out, man.
Yeah.
You got to figure out a way
And
to get
and
out.
I think Bob Marley said it best when he says, free yourself from mental slavery. And you know, even when I seen some of my uncles come in and out of jail, like, even after they got out of the jail and when they was going through their, revitalization process, some of the things they were saying, how their mindset was, you know, they were still in mentally, they were still in jail, just minus the bars
Yeah.
because of they just had this stinking thinking.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I said, like, we download that, man,
Right.
because especially when it comes down to that's why this can get so deep because when you're in certain environments, you're downloading things that will, from, like, a survivability standpoint, and those things, they stick, because your brain, like, you know, um the human brain wants to survive
Mhm.
no matter what. you know even if somebody's on the opposite spectrum and they think, they have, like, let's say, suicidal thoughts or things like that, even from the last second, their brain is still like, no, like, I'm trying to survive here. And so when you're put into an environment where you have, where you're trying to survive, like jail, prison, these things where you're just trying to ingrain that, and then you get put back out in society and you're just trying to survive. You think everybody's after you. You think everything is going against you. You constantly got your guard up. You constantly are on the defense. That's why that doesn't translate very well, instantly. That's why you have to kind of relearn some things and put some things on the back burner and say, okay, I'm not in a fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
I need to just be,
Yeah.
just be right now.
But nothing is threatening my life right now in this moment. And what's
Yeah,
important to me
yeah,
at this what's important in this situation, in this particular moment, and then take some time to just pause, reflect, reevaluate,
yeah,
educate yourself, think, and so forth. These are the things
yeah,
that could just help elevate out of that survival mode. Sometimes because that brain will trick you. Now, I consider you a well-rounded person and very self-aware. And I'm curious, how do you handle criticism?
yeah. I take criticism. I feel like I take criticism very well. Um, you know, of course, like, if I wholeheartedly believe in something
uh,
and somebody is trying to, critique something, uh, it depends on the critique and who it's coming from.
yeah.
I think that, if it's just a straight up negative critique, I'm like, "You're not even trying to help." You're
Try
not
to tear it
you didn't
down.
even you didn't even try it. But if it's a constructive criticism, if it's something that I could take it and it still may hurt a little bit, but it's like I need to hear it.
Yeah,
Um, I'll listen to it, like and I'll take it seriously. Like, hey, okay, do I need to change this? Do I need to adapt? Because at the end of the day, I want to do some amazing stuff at a high level, and also I don't know everything,
yeah,
so I have to humble myself enough to say, okay, let me listen to these other perspectives. Let me listen to these other, you know, um, points of view, and so I think criticism. I think throughout life I'm learning and I'm being better at it,
yeah.
because I am so, you know. I would just go 100,000 miles in one direction, and then I'm like a train. And if you may get ran over. You may get ran over if you try to step in front. Yo, you know, and I've been working on trying to, make that a little better,
Yeah,
so I can be like, okay, let me listen. Especially when it came to, like, the conference that we did, I really had to take a back seat on a lot of things. Like, okay, let me listen to what they're saying. And now looking back, there were some other things I could have listened to,
uh-huh.
but I had to get out the vision.
Right. I don't know. For some reason, when you was talking at it, all I can hear in the background is like I can see you get ready. I did that E40 song. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Go go. Like he just in go mode. All right, I'm ready. Put
It's
me in
hard
coach.
to switch off to the go mode too. That's the thing. But you got to surround yourself with the right people too, because as you get points, like, people get points,
Yeah.
and they get So as you start to be in someone's circle, you gain trust, you get points. And so if some certain people tell me certain things when I'm in go mode, I still may be like, okay, let me stop and listen because this person has got a lot of points with me. So I could be like, hey, let me listen to that. It's not like just some random opinion, be like, hey, I wouldn't do that because my sister's cousin's on second remove, that really didn't work for them. It's like,
I love it. I love it.
what are you talking about?
um, so let's go through this career journey real quick to dive in. A lot of the sometimes people that I talk to, like especially with the uh people who are like college students and
Hmm.
they may have just graduated or high school students, they often feel like, "Oh, I got my degree now. I should like get that really good job, that well paying 80K six-figure job because I put in my time, right? I got the degree." And often life doesn't start off that way. I tell them like you'd be surprised to know some of the first jobs of some of the people that you admire and look up to. So with that being said, what was your first job, sir?
First job was McDonald's.
Biggie D's? What?
14 and a half. Yep, 14 and a half. As soon as I could work, my dad was like, go get a job.
Uh-huh.
Soon as I could work.
Uh,
I mean, I think it was like the day after my birthday, my dad was like, okay, time for you to get that job. It's time. You guys start contributing. So McDonald's was my first job. Besides like, cutting grass or just doing things like that. I didn't really have like that entrepreneur spirit. Like I watch Shark Tank and these other shows now, and I'm like, when I was 9, 10 years old, I was not thinking of how to be an entrepreneur.
right,
So, I think it's also different time periods, different,
right.
it's just more normalized now to have that entrepreneur mindset and go in that direction. But when I was 9, 10 years old, man, I was just trying to play games and ride my bike and go hang out with friends and
Right.
you know, and just doing that stuff. So, you know, I think that when you talk about, the kids coming out of school, it that stuff infuriates me, man. Like it really does because I hate when people they have these expectations that they haven't earned yet. Like the another one, the thing I talk about in the book is you have to even out, like, life's not fair, you have to even out the odds. So, for you to think that you're just gonna go through a 4-year program and you're just gonna come out and I demand 80K and you haven't done anything in the field or the space, or you don't really know, you just download, it's like you saying like, "Hey man, I would spend 4 years watching these YouTube videos and now I'm a pro at X." You know, um, I need 100K off the jump. But you have no clients or testimonials, you don't have any experience, you don't have any, like, there's a long list of things you don't have, but you're like, "Hey, I watch out for 4 years, I watch these videos. So, pay up." It doesn't work that way. Why do you think that somebody should just give you a bunch of money? Like, you have to work, like, people, you have to show, kind of what you're about, as far as to build that trust and everything. And then once you start to build up your resume, now, if you're doing school, that's why I also encourage, if you're in school, go out there and get some experience, you know,
Get an
go out
internship.
there and really internship, find a mentor. Just say, "Look, I'll do whatever for free. I'm gonna learn." Go to extracurricular activities. Go to hang out with certain groups that are in that direction, just doing it for fun. If you're into coding, engineering, whatever, just hang out with that group and start to create, start to do stuff, start to, so that way when you go to those interviews, you can say not just that you had the school, you also did all these extra things. And then you can say, hey, that's why I want to get a little closer to this range because I feel like I've done these, some of these things that have real world experience.
Yeah.
So that stuff just infuriates me because I guess I kind of came up right through the grassroots way. So I'm kind of like, I work for everything. I work for everything.
Yeah.
And so for somebody to say, no, I did this, and I paid a bunch of money, go ahead and pay me. You
Right.
know, it's like,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because I think, okay, cool. Yeah, you did that. That's the first step. Now here's the second step.
mhm,
You
yeah,
can't skip steps. It doesn't
you
work
can't,
that way.
you can't. You can't. It's so true. Like you can't skip those steps. Like those are vital steps
But,
to you learning anything. And and I think about it from the business owner perspective. It's like, why am I going to pay this kid 80K off the jump and they don't even like know what the heck is going on? Like that could be, that's a big figure to take a flyer. And I guess when you're when depending on how big the company size is, of course, then things kind of just become normal. But I don't think that that's normal. I mean, so 80K is 80K still.
yeah.
It's like,
Right.
and then the cost of turnover is even more. So it's like I give you this shot, you fall on your butt, about it, and you don't know what to do. All of a sudden, now I got to go, and you leave. I got to retrain. I got to onboard, rehire. Like it's a whole process.
Yeah, yeah, trust me. And probably the larger companies and institutions can afford that, but us, small to mid-sized companies, that's a huge liability for us. That could set us back.
Huge, huge. Yeah, 100%.
Uh,
Huge.
you're about to take out my life savings.
Exactly. And they just feel like they're owed it too, and that's the mindset on it is wrong.
Uh,
You gotta
but
wanna, earn your stripes, man.
Right. Now, I know some young person gonna get inspired by hearing your story and your journey. So let's talk about that real quick. What would you say were the important key steps that you took to, pivot from your rap career to start a media company to writing a book and speaking and get into
Yeah.
business? What would you say those key steps? Like if somebody feels like they have a story or have a passion that they want to pursue in the media space or writing a book, what steps would you tell them to take that or steps you kinda took that they can relate?
Yeah. I think my steps are a little unorthodox, so I don't know if I could encourage people to take my steps. It's a little tricky, Um, I would say though, one of the most important things is, when you talked about through those kind of checkpoints in life, those milestones. Um, Really, what was important for me was understand as you're going through life, you're gonna be developing yourself. You're gonna be learning more about yourself. The real thing that you have to learn is what is your gift, what is your superpower, because each one of those things you talked about, my superpower is shining through each one of those moments. So that's the one thing that's consistent. So you have to think like, what is your gift? What is the one thing that God gave you? I think God also, you don't have to have just one. You could have multiple. But what's that one thing that that you just do effortlessly, more, and other people really gotta try. What is that thing? And then once you start to know what that is, just hone into it. Hone into it. So no matter where life takes you, or no matter what you're trying to do, hone into what that ability is and then see what the opportunities will come up from that. So like with me, I learned that it's really my charisma, my drive, my likeness, and my energy that people kind of gravitate to. So if it's from when I was doing music, it's like, man, this dude's motivated. He's he's doing whatever it takes. Like the music is motivational. Essentially that's why people love my state. Like I noticed that the music was good, but when people came onto the shows, that like this one dude told me, he's like, man, your music's cool, but I just love you, performing live.
Yeah.
He's like, the energy you're doing is crazy, man. You jumping all around. You're doing stuff crazy, man. So he's like, the energy is just off the roof. So I noticed that's my superpower. And so when I translate that into business,
Uh-huh.
I just put that energy into business. I put that energy into a book. I put that energy now into speaking. I put that energy, every single thing is I'm using that gift again and again, and I have this ability to communicate to others, and I can kind of go from different spaces and communicate. And that's also, another gift that I learned. So use your gift, learn what it is first, use it in whatever you do, and you will find more success once you discover that. People just got to discover their superpower, man.
I love that. I love that. And that goes along with the theme Rise Urban Nation that I always tell folks when I go out and do my public speaking. Do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money, let the money chase you. Because when you lean into your
Mm.
gift of what you do and you do it with passion, you do it with purpose, people will pay for that thing, that special thing that only you can provide the world. So find that gift and use it well. What would you say is one good lesson life has taught you?
Um, Man, one good lesson is it's hard for me not to be negative right now. Um, I think that, when I really say that life's not fair, like it really isn't. In like any stage, especially for um, someone that is, a person of color. Um, I think when you grasp that and you understand what that means, that life's not fair, that is something of the biggest lessons and that life has taught me where you gotta figure out a way to even out those odds, to challenge that and not just expect these things to fall on your lap. Um, because once you understand that, then you know how to move around it. Then you know how to get what you want. Then you know, like, hey, I got to put a little more effort in this area because of it's not going to just fall on me. You may have a couple of crazy moments that might just fall right in your lap. You're like, "Holy crap, I didn't realize that," you know? Thank you, but that's not gonna happen every day, and so you gotta keep pushing, and so just really realizing that, like, the world is just it's beautiful, but at the same time, it's cutthroat, and you got to know how to navigate through that and just accept that first because there's a time in my life where I did not accept that. I was like, man, why me, man? What's this going on? Like, what? Like this shouldn't be happening this way. Well, but just constantly, just the energy was just different. And now it's like, oh, okay, that happened. Well, I gotta, I gotta find another route. I gotta find another way, to figuring this out. So just that is a big life lesson to myself. And I'm 30, 34, going on 35. So that's a big lesson because then I'm now a problem solver into what is going on instead of just a complainer and saying, "Oh, I don't, why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening." Now I'm problem solving and I'm finding a solution, which is two different mentalities that are
Yeah, I
different.
love that. I approach that the same way. Like I tell people, look, life doesn't happen to you; it happens for you. So find,
Hmm.
you know, what's in that uniquely in that situation that allows you to pivot to the next thing.
Hmm.
And or work through it because that was you see that, and instead of complaining about it, it happened for you so that you can go to the next thing there's and go down this hallway full of doors instead of just banging on that
Hmm.
one door trying to get in.
Yes.
That door wasn't
Yes.
meant for you, so let's go. There's a hallway full of doors.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
look for the next door or find another way.
Exactly.
If all these doors are open, let's go back outside, look for a window.
100%.
We
100%.
adaptable.
Yeah. Go find a window. Go find a crack in the
Go
wall
ahead.
and just slide it.
What's some advice you would give to anyone who wants to really start a career in your industry?
Um, First, do your research. Learn as much as you can. Really become a student of, if it's from camera work, if it's from branding, if it's from marketing, if it's, I mean, there's so much material out there nowadays where you can just start diving in and learning. Um, and then I would say start by just doing, just jump in, um, and do a lot of free work first. Just get your hands dirty in it. Just really start learning what you want to do. Um, Especially in this field, media, branding, marketing. You know, this stuff is there's so many avenues to go, and a lot of people will come through with just one thing that they do. And this is a space that you need to kind of understand multiple roles of what goes on, because even from bigger companies, they are now expecting that you're not just going to be a videographer. You need to learn social media. You need to know how to um photography. You need to learn these other concepts, so that way you can become even more effective and more valuable in the space. So getting in the space, I feel like is relatively easy to get into the space. But then also try to find a mentor. Go out to networking groups and things in your area, and just start getting involved. Get involved in a certain community of it, and then try to find somebody that will take you under their wing, so that way you can learn from them, and just say yes to every opportunity that comes up, and you'll get into the industry. And the thing is, I'm very this is very normal to me because through the music industry, this is how you do it. This is literally how you do it. And so when it comes down to other professional industries, I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They just have a couple more avenues for you to do it. It's more traditional from a school perspective and all that stuff. So, you know, it's just but this is the way on you know how we do it, how we get into these spaces, and how we meet these people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it, and I feel like everything touches media nowadays. So even if you are just a business owner who's not in the media space, technically, if you're not in the media space, you kind of losing. So you need to get into the media space somehow. So connect with somebody who's in the
Yeah,
media space, so that you can amplify your business and what you do. Um,
yeah.
what do you think the future has in store for your industry?
Oh, oh my god. I mean, the future is very interesting because we just went with COVID, went through a whole nother shift where a lot of technology was utilized, and a lot of marketers had to look at how do you use a lot of this new technology that's there. Also, it's always changing. So I think that the future is it's definitely more digital. um and I think that the future is what our space is. That's why we niche down into utilizing entertainment. That is the best marketing tool that you can use, is entertainment. And people are getting away from just the average sale, like, hey, it's a promo code, buy my stuff. Now people are looking for community, or they're looking for entertainment. And if you can't provide one of those two, you are going to be out the game. And so you got to know how to create content. You got to know how to be entertaining, um, or at least engaging,
Yeah.
within your brand. And you got to know how to build community. People want to be in something and be a part of something, and that's really what brand building is now. Um, so I think our industry is slowly changing, but I think the kind of a lot of the traditional ways are just going they're slowly just falling off, and it's slowly because a lot of people are still holding on to it for dear life.
Yep. So true. So true. um, Man, there's so many things I want to go into, but I don't want this to be a Joe Rogan podcast, and I don't even think I can do what Joe Rogan does.
We can always catch up again too, man, later on, you know?
Because I was like, oh, all right, let me. So let's cap it off like this. What projects are you currently working on, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so we right now we are helping a lot of kind of mid-sized, larger companies try to figure out their DEI strategies
Uh-huh.
and then execute those. So we're working with a lot of HR professionals, working with a lot of DEI management as well as marketing to mold all those in together. Of course, we're doing our own things on our brand. We got our podcast, the Forever Podcast. We also have our micro events and our movement that we keep pushing and keep growing. And then our big conference we'll have again next year. So we're in planning stages for that. So um, I'm really, also I speak a lot too. So I got a lot of speaking engagements coming up. So yeah, speaking in Michigan, Orlando, Chicago, Milwaukee, yeah, speaking all over the place. So it's I really love what I do. People can come and find me at Forever Media, pretty much on all platforms. So that's Foureva Media,
Yeah.
uh, and that's how you can find us. Or it's at Jamar Jones FM is my Instagram. So I mainly use LinkedIn. So if you want to shoot me a message, if you're listening now, I encourage you to shoot me a message. If you want to change your circle, you got to start by having some action.
Yes.
So shoot me a message.
Shoot him a message.
I
Change your
am
circle
reachable.
today. Well,
Change it today.
Jamar Jones, man, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on Rise Urban Nation, sharing such gems. If y'all ain't got that book by now, I don't know what y'all waiting for. Make sure y'all go get that book. If y'all driving, it's okay. I'm gonna get Jamar's all of the places where you can connect with him, message him, get the book, catch him on his next speaking tour so you get some of that energy that he provides on
Yeah.
stage. Jamar, any last words of wisdom for the people before we sign off?
Take action. Take action. Stop talking about it. Be about it. Take action. If you really want to change your life, you have to take action, and that the first step is grab my book. And also just taking some of these things that you heard today and applying them. A lot of people just listen, 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 and then they still complain, complain, complain. So you know you got to take action.
Right.
So take action today. Do something today to move the
So all
needle.
my runners out there, you gotta take action. Move the needle. You heard what the man said. So first action, go buy his book. This has been another
Selfish.
episode of Rise Urban Nation. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with Jamar in the future, but I know we're gonna do something big. So y'all stay tuned for that. We'll talk offline and figure out how we can make that happen. And you guys have a great and excellent week.